Well, I finally come on here on New Year's Day to kind of open up the new year of carving and crafts, and had to kind of come on here just to say a little word or two. And finally, I get back to this stuff because finally got my Christmas gifts. I finally got this new cap that says Romans 8:28 on it. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, which says that, and God makes all things work to good for those who love him, for those who are called according to the purpose. And yes, in my life, he's definitely done that for years. Longer than I know and longer than I remember, probably longer than you know. So I just wanted to come on today just to show some horses that I have carved and the steps as to how I do it. You'll see here that I have like a couple here that are carved out of buckeye. I also have a couple here that I carved out of walnut. I already took their pictures and already showed them on Twitter, and I've still got the blanks to the ones that I cut out from cherry. So with the ones that were cut from cherry, we are going to work on those today, kind of see how that's going to do, because it's just little work I've done. I think some time ago there was some time when I cut out some of these blanks and showed it in a video. If I remember correctly, it might have been the cherry ones that I was showing you in the video that I was sawing out on the bandsaw. But I'd say we're going to kind of work on them today. I'm going to show you all little steps as to how I carve. You'll see that there's kind of like the blank like this, and I start out kind of carving along the neck like this. I tell you, I tried to sharpen these knives before that started this video. Not sure how good a job of it I did, but I think some of these knife blades don't sharpen as well as others. We kind of get around to it, kind of try to take care of it the best we can, see how good it goes, see how good it lasts. Sometimes I think whenever it comes to carving the ears, I kind of chip them a little bit, but that'll just kind of get a little okay, be a little better. Just kind of like, oh, the further along you go about it, try to make it so much better that it shines it like a bright light and takes care of things the best way you know how to do it. I'd say there's just going to be times when I feel like I can get back to these videos because I mean, it's Saturday as I record, New Year's Day for 2022, and wishing you all a happy new year. But I kind of work in a school cafeteria, and I go back to work on Tuesday. That's kind of good. It gives us a Monday off, a little extra day. I think it's that I'm just kind of getting to the point where I'm just seeing little signs in life that I'm probably kind of needing my introvert space again, because there's so much I experience in life and so much I learn from people in life that it just kind of takes me a little longer than you know, longer than you realize. And I tell you, the thing of it is that by the time I finally got around to starting this business, I became such an old seasoned man. And I tell you, I turned 42 on February the 1st, which is on a Tuesday this year. But I'd say the thing is that for somebody my age, I've heard some people tell me I'm real mature for my age, and you might say that, but I've experienced a lot for my age for sure. I've just kind of been here and there, seen this and seen that. And from all the experiences I have, the older I get, there's just so much more I learn, so much more I find out. And that's probably one of the reasons why I get wise. Like we read in Ecclesiastes, the Bible tells us that where there is much wisdom, there is much grief. Where there is more knowledge, there is more sorrow. That's kind of the reason why I've come to this point in life where I've just learned that sometimes there's a little bit more the young people can handle than the old people can. We've experienced so much more and we've seen so much more. And I'd say it's like we know that there's a young generation out there and every generation is going to be different from the next. I've just kind of had to experience so much to learn it. That's kind of the reason why I feel like right now, some of the places I've gone and some of the places I've been, you know, the young people have been good to me. The young people have been friendly to me, but there's times I'm out in places and hear little young people conversations going on behind counters and behind desks, and there's also times when I just finally come to realize it's like, as an older seasoned man, you kind of see all the conversation from a kind of different point of view because you've been through it, experienced it, you've seen a whole lot more than they have, you've heard a whole lot more than they have. And I've tried a lot for a man my age. I've experienced so much for a man my age, and I'd say it's all just the kinds of things that come and go in life. We see people. We know that it makes me think back on how when I was 32 and on Facebook and hosting those ministry pages with the Autistic Rev and all, and even to that matter, had a few people who liked that page and added them as friends to my personal page. And some of them, I mean, they were like much older people and they loved reading my comments. I could kind of post a lot of scriptural things, a lot of spiritual things, a lot of religious things, and people who loved Jesus loved to read them. But there kind of came a time in my life where I was kind of mad about some things. I was a little frustrated about some things. Probably used a few words on there I wouldn't have normally used, and probably got a little sour in my tone here and there. Sometimes we have to be careful who we share it with and who we say it to, because sometimes even if it's just open on there for all your friends to see, it's like this was kind of a situation where out of all the friends somebody has and all the comments that go around, sometimes, just sometimes, you know, everybody in your feed can see all your posts and all the things your friends post and all the things you comment on and all the comments they make to you. And this was kind of a situation where this older man in South Africa didn't know exactly that was where he lived at the time, didn't know all the logic back then, but I know there had been a time when I woke up on a Saturday morning getting ready to go to my Woodcarvers Guild meeting, and he sent me a message saying, "Hi dear Jonathan," he said, "I've always loved reading your comments on my homepage, but lately I've had to delete them because your tone has turned sour. If it continues, I will have to remove you completely, because in Christ we're supposed to build each other up, not break down, which is Satan's work." So, I'd say I gave him a gracious response to that. Kind of showed me a little grace as well here and there, and that was what he was kind of telling me. Was he said that a lot of times the young people will kind of use more words because they don't know words can hurt. And he went on to say, but us seasoned older people know that words can hurt. I'm coming to the point in my life where there's a little bit more that I've experienced over time, so much more I've seen and heard, and come to this little point in my own life where I can understand very well how when you get a little older and get a little seasoned, sometimes the conversations among the young people can be kind of different to you. I'd like to show you how far I've come along here. Carved both sides of the head, trying to narrow it down. That's kind of how it goes with these horses. To kind of tell you the rest, I'd say that it's like that's one reason why I can kind of understand things a whole lot better, because sometimes the little conversations among the young people, you know, can kind of make us just think about how we've kind of tried more, seen more, heard more, and how stories have been different from one person to the next. Stories have gone around all different from one place to the next, from one time to the next. And I say one thing, you know, that as we get to be older people, we kind of appreciate our parents a little more, but sometimes, just sometimes, I hear some of the ways that college-age kids talk about their parents and how it is that they're away from home, how it would be if they went back home to visit, and sometimes I think it just comes to the point in life where, you know, there's just so many different points of views about things, because some of us older people, I mean, we've learned from the times we didn't listen to what our parents told us, that we had the experiences where, from all the mistakes we made, from all the choices we made, when we were young and foolish and thought we could do things our way, we experienced a lot and learned our parents were right, that they had certain wisdom we didn't have. Sometimes I say that as I get older, there's things I learn a little better. Sometimes I come across people and realize that kids will be kids. Sometimes you have to accept them. Sometimes you have to let them be kids and talk about all the things young people will talk about. But I'd say that there can be moments in my life when it can be good for me, and probably some moments in my life when it can't. There will probably be the moments in my life when I probably need to get away from it for a while. And that is kind of the reason why I get back on here to make this video today. Because the fact that I just finally get a chance to get some break in my schedule, get away from the public places and all, that's probably kind of the reason why I can have so much more to share and so much more to say. There comes little times when you gotta carve along the nose, make the nose a little thinner. Just wanted to also tell you all that there's a lot of stuff that I've seen online lately. It's kind of the main reason why I'm keeping my main Facebook closed, keeping my Messenger closed, not really corresponding with people right now. It's just a time when I feel like, for all the stuff that's going around, maybe this could be just a little better time for me to have my little break, and even from showing pictures and showing crafts and messages, because I say to you all that the stories I like to share, they can be kind of funny sometimes, they can be kind of meaningful, they can make a lot of young people laugh, but I feel like I've come to this point in my life where, as a much older person, I can kind of see some things from some different points of view, like I say. So that's among the reasons why things are changing, to the point that I'm kind of starting a new year with a new business. It's a time when a little work shall come and a little time shall come where we will make a profit here and there. Kind of have to learn about the cost of my materials. I've learned how to kind of keep a record book this year. And as of this year, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be keeping records of all my sales. I've always done that and kept records of how much I made, how much I sold. I've always done that, and there's going to come times when there's going to be more equipment to get together to try to make things work a little better, because it's a time when I'm learning so much more about the way taxes work and how sometimes you kind of have to keep record of your material costs so you can keep record of whether you're making more money than what your materials cost, so that you can probably kind of see how much you might owe in taxes, how much you don't. There's just a lot of this stuff I'm learning for the first time this year. Even in the coffee shop where my work has been displayed, they're kind of doing little new things there, kind of making it so a little more work is coming a little longer way and taking over little things as they kind of come and how they need to be. A little work here and there kind of takes a little time away, makes a little space here and there, and I'd say that sometimes we have little businesses we have to take, and there's some upcoming changes to take place in how they're doing business with me in the coffee shops, at least in that one, that is, and probably keep a conversation going so much that kind of hard to keep together what I'm doing here. However, it comes down to the fact that I have finally narrowed down the head a little bit. One of the last things we'll do is carve the ears, but I've already gone so far as to carving the neck here. There's probably going to be some time away from the camera that I'm going to carve this other blank as well, but now you know how far I've come along here. Just to say that this little bit of work can mean a lot once you start it, can mean a lot once you do it, mean a lot once you finish it. I tell you, I live in Kentucky, so we're like the horse capital of the world. That's kind of how it works, because we've got Kingland in my own city, we've got Churchill Downs in Louisville, that we all got little different places where we go, different things we do, different things we learn. I tell you, there's a lot to learn about Kentucky once you get there. We even have a horse park out off of Ironworks Road, and so they kind of host a little light show every year. They call it Southern Lights. I've seen a lot of stuff around Christmas time about light shows on the internet, so I know about that. What I'd like to show here is that I've come along on the legs just fine, the fronts of the legs. I'd say that there's a little time when you kind of come along the back as well. That's how it works, that's how it goes, that's how it happens. I'd tell you a little bit more about how my New Year's Eve was. Watched that new thing with Miley Cyrus and that Jeff guy, whatever his name was, the comedian. There was probably some stuff I liked about it, some stuff I didn't. I'd say it was definitely a young people show, because there was just so much in there I just think an old person can't handle. You know, you talk about the difference between when you're young and when you're old, and sometimes the ages just kind of tell us things as they go, as they do. I'm tell you people, I'm too old to party, but didn't really party on New Year's Eve even when I was young. Never went to college. Never really had any house parties to go to for that reason. And kind of work I do here, this little time when we kind of shave along the backs of the necks of these horses. I've come along here, I've just kind of shaved here. And I will also note to you all that for this particular project, I did a couple of things to keep my legs safe. For one thing, I put on an apron that practically covers most of my body. And second of all, I put down this plastic pan here because I've carved quite a few things over this metal pan, not plastic, metal, over the past few times that I've carved things over in the other area. Main reason being because I kind of would prefer to have the chips fall in the pan and not fall all over the couch and the rug and things like that. So that's why I try to kind of keep things together the best I can. Keep things as clean as they can be. There comes a time when, with this project, sometimes you just round off the head a little bit. And I'd say this is how it goes. Oh, the work of my hands is getting a little time consuming, and whoa, it just kind of takes your body out of whack and out of shape. I'd say that this little time in my life, working so hard, taking care of little things, as we say, we make molehills in the mountains, make big deals out of small ones, bear gifts as if they're burdens. That's how it's been. I say that there's going to be a little more I'm going to say about how things go over time, but as you know, it's all going to come for the good and the better. Take care of life each day as it comes. And I'd say for one thing that sometimes I think I'd be happy to be in heaven with my Lord, but there'd just be a lot of sad people here on earth. A lot of people want to see me live for them and stay around for them. They'd be upset if I went to heaven right away. It'd be kind of hard for some people, you know, but there are those in this world for whom it's necessary for us to stay on earth. Paul said that to live is Christ and to die is gain. He even told the people he said that to, he said, it's better for you that I remain in the body so I can be here for your needs. Kind of how it is, you know, when we're on earth. Because we have a lot to say and a lot to share and a lot to do. But I'd like to say that I'm coming along on this carving real well. Carving the backs of these ears. Making them come out so freaking nice and neat. And this is what I have to show for it. I'd say it might be getting to the point where my hands might be getting a little tired here and there. Maybe a little time to turn off this video and take a little break here and there. Maybe get back on here a little later and post another one to finish. Probably not today. Don't know when it'll be. Depends on my mood, how I feel. But this is what I want to say is that it's how it goes these days. I pray in all things that you will have a happy, safe, and blessed new year.